Assalamu alaikum students, I hope you all are fine. Students, we are in unit 5, that is computer programming. In today's lesson we will talk about the constants and variables which are used in programming. Constant and variable. A constant is a fixed value that does not change during the execution of a program. For example, 123, 3.14157 and any combination of characters which is enclosed in double quotation marks or inverted commas, we can say that is also a constant, and we call it a string constant. Like here, hello, which is enclosed in double quotation marks, that is a string constant. So any fixed value which cannot be changed or which does not change during the execution of a program is called a constant. So normally we define constant in other subjects, like in physics, that any quantity or any physical quantity which cannot be changed, which does not change, that is called constant. But here we will define it that any fixed value that does not change during the execution of a program, that is called a constant. There are two types of constants: numeric constants and string constants. First of all, numeric constants. Numbers are referred to as numeric constants. For example, 0, it's a numeric value and hence it is a constant. It will always be a 0. 25 is a constant and a numeric constant. It will always be 25. Plus 100, minus 300, 3.14159, all these are numeric constants. Second, we have string constant. String constants are used for non-numeric purposes such as headings or printing messages. Here we have some examples, like I love Pakistan. It's a string constant, and the indication or the way to define any string constant is to enclose it in double quotation mark. Whatever the combination of characters enclosed in double quotation mark, that is a string constant, as I told you. So here I love Pakistan is a string constant. Second, we have a name of a person, Samid, which is enclosed in double quotation mark, that is also a string constant. Like GH school number 2, government high school number 2, which is enclosed in double quotation mark, that is also a string constant. So I told you that any combination of characters which is enclosed in double quotation mark is a string constant. Here in this example we can see that we have used alphabets in its uppercase. Further we have used dot, that is a full stop, and a numeric value 2, but here it is enclosed in double quotation mark, so it is a string constant. Further we have a date, 14th of August 1947, Independence Day of Pakistan, so that is also a string constant which is enclosed in double quotation mark. So that is the identity of a numeric constant, that it must be enclosed in double quotation marks. Third, we have variable. Variables, unlike constants, change their values during the execution of a program. Anything which can be changed is a variable, but in computer, variables are values which can be changed during the execution of a program. A variable or variable name refers to a location in memory in which value may be stored. So a variable name actually refers to a memory location where some value is stored. For example, In basic, we used to define a variable like this here, which is given in this statement 10. This 10 actually shows the line number, so you don't have to worry about this 10, because whenever we will be doing programming in the basic IDE, so those line numbers will be automatically imported in our code, so we don't have to worry about it. So 10 is the line number, and the statement which is written in line number 10, that is let. Let is a reserved word for declaring and initializing any variable. Z is the variable name. The variable name that we have selected, that is capital Z, is equal to 5. So value is 5. What does it mean? It means that we are declaring a variable Z inside the memory, and further we are assigning a value of 5 to Z. Z is a memory location inside the memory, and the value that we want to store at that particular memory location, that is 5. I'll explain it few minutes after few minutes. Let me complete this slide. In the above basic language statement, Z is a variable name which holds a value 5. Now I'm going to discuss this declaration of and initialization of this variable Z in more detail, that what actually happens behind the screen inside the memory whenever this statement is executed by the computer. What is going to happen behind the screen inside the memory? Okay, in every computer we have a memory. Here this square box represents a memory. For example, this is our computer's memory. Whenever this statement is executed, what will happen inside the memory? That is the point to understand. See, whenever this statement executes, first of all, a small portion of this memory will be reserved, and 5 is going to be stored inside that reserved memory location. Further, the name which is going to be assigned to this memory location, that will be capital Z. Why is it so? Because if we do not assign any variable name to this memory location, so how we will refer to this value 5? Because we don't know that where the value 5 is going to be stored inside the memory if we do not assign any meaningful name or any variable name to this value 5. So we cannot refer to value 5 in that case. So, and second, if we use the real memory addresses, that will be very difficult for us to refer to any memory location, because memory addresses are normally in the form of hexadecimal numbers, which is very difficult to memorize and which is very difficult to understand. That's why we use the humanly understandable variable names, so that we can refer to any values which are stored in the memory easily. So that's why we are using variable name Z. So now later on in the program, whenever we need this value 5, we will just write Z instead of 5, and that value 5 which is stored in the memory will be used automatically. So that is the purpose of using variable names, and this is how variables are declared, and this is what happens inside the memory when we declare a variable and assign any value to a variable. So this was just for your understanding and concept. Okay, now we have some rules for naming variables. whenever we assign names or we choose names for any variable, so there must be some rules which should be followed. Variable names are sequence of characters that obey the following rules. The first one, variable names can contain letters A to Z, whether it is capital or small letters, digits 0 to 9 and decimal points. All these can be used in the variable names. Second, variable names may be typed in either upper or lower case. As I told you, the first character of a variable name must be an alphabet. So this is the point to be noticed, that the first character of a variable name must be an alphabet. It means that we cannot start a variable name with a digit. So it should be started with an alphabet. No embedded blank space is allowed. So whatever the name of a variable, there must not be a blank space in between the name of a variable. Reserved words cannot be used as a variable name. Like in the previous example, I told you that let is a reserved word for declaring a variable, so it cannot be used as a variable name. So reserved words of the language cannot be used as a variable name. Sixth, variable name can be of any length, but first 40 characters are significant. What does it mean? It means that if we have two or more variables with the same first 40 characters, so those variables will be considered as the same variables. Those will not be considered as the different variables. That's why they are saying that the first 40 characters are significant. We must have to differentiate the first 40 characters of any 2 or 3 or 4 variable names. Those first 40 characters must not be the same for declaring different variables. Variable names should be meaningful. So it is logical that whatever the variables we are defining, those must have a meaningful name. Some examples of varied variable names are given below. X is a variable name. It can be used as a variable. Pay, roll number. Now here there is no blank space. Notice that it's a full stop. Average, A1, B2, C3. It is also a variable name because it starts with an alphabet. Tax. All these are varied variable names. Okay. Now types of variable. A variable in a program can hold numeric data as well as string data. Therefore, variables are divided into two types. Just like constants, there are two types of variables, like numeric variables and string type of variables. Just like in constants, we have numeric constants and string constants. In the same way, there are two types of variables, numeric variables and string variables. Or the variables which can hold numeric data, those are called numeric variables, and the variables which can hold string type of data, those are called string variables. Numeric variable and string variable. Numeric variables are used to hold numeric constants, whereas string variables are used to hold string constants. It is important to note that a string variable must ends with a dollar sign. So this is the identity of a string variable, that the variable name which ends with the dollar sign will be considered as a string variable. A few examples of string variable names are given below. Here Z and ends with the dollar sign, so it identifies that Z is a string variable. Blood.g means blood group and ends with the dollar sign, which shows that it's a string variable. In the same way, address ends with the dollar sign and it identifies address as a string variable. Further, city. So whatever the combination of alphabets or whatever the name of a variable which ends with a dollar sign will be considered as a string variable, or it means that that variable can hold a string constant. Students, that's it for today. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe my channel Computer Tuition Academy and press the bell icon for more updates. Thanks a lot. Take care. Allah Hafiz.